Hi, and welcome to Every Step of the Way. If this is your first time here, I'm Joellen Hoff. And this channel is all about following Jesus Christ one step at a time, every step of the way. I was getting ready to shoot some video the other day, and as I was setting up, I got a notification across my computer screen, and it said active shooter in Boulder. Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm in northern Colorado, which is not very far at all from Boulder. So, of course, that got my attention right away. So I kind of shut down things, went to my computer, and of course started following this unfolding horrific event that was happening. I'm sure you've all heard about it by now. Unfortunately, 10 lives were lost, including a police officer who was a first responder. I watched pretty much the whole thing unfold, and it was horrific. And I watched the witnesses' testimony as to what they went through and what they heard and saw. And I can tell you this is something that's going to stay with people for a long time. I know it stayed with me, and this happened probably 3 days ago now. And it's a hard thing to shake, no matter where it happens or who it happens to. Unfortunately, what happens in situations like this is we begin to live our lives very fearfully. It's hard to walk into a grocery store or any place for that matter without thinking, well, is this going to be my last day on earth? Is somebody going to come in and take my life? It's very hard to live life with peace in a dangerous world. And today's video is all about suggestions that I've come up with through prayer and meditation and thought for you and me on how to live with peace of mind in a dangerous world. Let's jump right in. Okay, suggestion number 1, get right with God. Get your life right with God, with Jesus. If you're on the fence about Jesus, get off the fence and accept Him today. Accept Him as your Lord and Savior today. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Should something happen to you, that's where you want to be. You don't have to fear death. Should you die, you'll be with Him in heaven. So don't wait. Get off the fence. Ask Him to come into your life and accept Him as your Lord. Accept Him as your Savior. Today. Right now. Suggestion number 2. Suit yourself up in the armor of God. Paul tells us to do this. As a matter of fact, I did a video on this, and I will link it up here in the cards or in the description, or both probably. So if you want to take a look at that video, you can do that as well. Paul tells us by suiting ourselves up in the armor of God, which is your sandals of peace, your helmet of salvation, your girdle or belt of truth, your breastplate of righteousness, that's hard to say, your sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, and your shield of faith. Suit yourself up every morning before you go out, whenever. Make sure you've got that armor on. Paul says we'll be protected from the evil one, his arrows, and his soldiers. Now, is this going to protect our physical bodies? I don't know. But I can tell you it will fend off and protect you from spiritual attacks that can lead you to dark places, places you don't want to be. Okay, suggestion number 3. Cast off the spirit of fear. Give it to God. In 2 Timothy 1:7, God tells us, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." God didn't give us a timid spirit. Live your life joyously. To live in fear plays into the hand of the evil one. That's what he wants. That's why he creates this sort of chaos. He is set on destroying our peace and our joy. He is set on creating circumstances and situations that will turn us away from God. When you feel fearful, give it to God. 1 Peter 5:7 tells us, "Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." You know, if you find yourself fearful, just tell God. Let Him know, I'm afraid, Lord. Please fill me with strength. Fill me with courage. You will be amazed at how quickly the fear dissipates, because He did not give us a spirit of fear or a spirit to be timid. So here's a few scriptures, and I'm going to put them in the description box below, that maybe you want to write down and keep in your pocket or your handbag or on your phone, so that when you are feeling fearful, you can turn to these scriptures and they'll help give you strength, along with your prayers to God, asking Him for strength. These scriptures are a good thing to meditate on, especially if you're feeling fearful, even before you leave the house. Okay, a good one for you is Deuteronomy 31:8. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. He will never leave you or forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. So the next one is Psalm 56, 3 through 4. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you, in God, whose word I praise. In God I trust, I am not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Jesus tells us this. Don't be afraid of ones who can hurt your flesh. They can do nothing to your soul. They can do nothing to your spirit. Put your trust in God. In God I trust. I am not afraid. Isaiah 41:3. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. I'll say it again. Do not fear. I will help you. I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand. He's right there with you, always. The next one is Psalm 62, 1 through 2. Truly, my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from Him. Truly, He is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. I actually have this verse on my refrigerator, so I see it every day. Let your soul find rest in God. So anyways, there's some scriptures that you can lean into, meditate on, keep on your phone or in your bag to help you live more peacefully if you're feeling fearful. Okay, suggestion number 4 is not necessarily so spiritual, but it's kind of common sense, and that's to be aware of your surroundings at all times. Now look, I believe God is with us. I believe He puts angels around us. But I also believe He asks us to educate ourselves, to use our brains, to learn how to help ourselves in dangerous situations, or even how to help others as well. Sometimes things happen so fast and any amount of training is futile. But it's always a good idea to be aware and to learn what signs to look for. There's a book by Jonathan Gilliam. Let me read this. Jonathan T. Gilliam, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. My husband bought me this book. I haven't read it all yet, but the parts I have read are really good. If you're looking to just get yourself a little bit more educated on the art of awareness, things that are happening around you, signs to look for, this, I believe, is a really good book for you to read. It's not a really long book, and it's so far been a very easy read. So I'll put the description, I'll put the link in the description box below for you. Okay, next, suggestion number 5, and I know there's some of you that are not going to like this at all, but I'm going to say it anyway. Assert your Second Amendment rights, your right to bear and carry arms. Now, if this isn't for you, you can skip on to number 6, but I'm going to go in a little bit more depth with this. Now, some states allow you to open carry. Some people just are not comfortable open carrying. You may want to get yourself a concealed carry permit or license. In doing this, you'll have to take a class if you don't have one already or don't know anything about it. And all you have to do is go online and pull up concealed carry in your state, and you'll find different instructors that can give you a class, because you have to be certified. At least in Colorado you do, before you can get a concealed carry permit. One thing I will say though is, if you're going to get a concealed carry permit, please, or license, please take the time to know your weapon well. Know it, how to clean it, how to put it together, how to shoot it very well. That weapon, that firearm, should be second nature to you. And if you're going to carry it, you're going to want to carry it in a place that's accessible. So make sure that you get the proper holster. I mean, a lot of women carry guns in their, well, maybe not a lot, but some women with concealed carry licenses or permits carry their guns in their pocketbook, which is okay, but if you need to get to it quickly, it might be difficult for you. So I would suggest finding a gun that fits you very well, fits your hands. If you don't know anything about guns, if you go to a gun dealer, they will help you with this. And find a range or someplace where you can learn how to shoot, and somebody who will teach you the ins and outs of the weapon that you have. I cannot stress enough to you, you must know that weapon like the back of your hand. You must feel comfortable with it, and believe me, I know, no one wants to have to carry a gun. No one wants that. But unfortunately, in the world we live in, it may save your life or the lives of other people. I am going to put a link in the description box that talks a little bit about the Second Amendment and how the concealed carry part fits into that, in case you're curious. Okay, so number 6, and this is going to seem a little morbid to you, but it is helpful. It's helpful. Have your life and your death in order. Okay. The more you prepare for your exit from this earth, the easier it's going to be on the people you leave behind. And the more peace of mind you will have, knowing that you've left specific instructions for things such as your daily routine, meaning if you're taking care of pets or paying bills, or there's certain household idiosyncrasies that only you know about, like a sticky garage door, or days that the trash comes, or whatever it may be. I know it sounds simple, but whatever instructions you can leave will help your loved ones immensely. Speaking of pets, you know, a lot of our pets, especially if they're older, they need special care, and if you're that caregiver, you're the only one who knows how to care for that pet. So it's not a bad idea to sit down with your family members and say, hey, you know, for example, we have an African gray, and he's got arthritis and some other health problems, and I'm his caregiver. I know how much medicine he gets and when he gets it, but if something should happen to me, no one else is going to know that. So as an example, it's a good idea to always sit down with your family members, make a list, show them where your list is, and say, this is how you take care of so-and-so. Or maybe you're taking care of a family member. You really need to be detailed about these things so that if something should happen to you, the people who move on with your duties know what to do and aren't scrambling around. Also, in line with this, and yeah, I know no one wants to think about this, but you know, make a will. Make sure you've got a will. You've got your directives in place, meaning, you know, how do you want to be buried? You know, do you want to be cremated? That sort of thing. Even funeral plans, you know, what song would you like at your funeral? Who would you like to sing? I mean, all those little things are the things that we don't want to think about, but once you're out of here, once you're in heaven, you're fine. But the folks left behind are grieving your loss terribly, and it leaves them even more lost and with a huge hardship if you didn't leave something behind to tell them how to move on with your wishes and your daily activities. Also in that, although this happens before you pass out of this world, should you ever need a power of attorney, you need to get that in line too. And that just basically gives somebody close to you the power to handle your affairs should you be in the hospital, unable to handle them for yourself, incapacitated in any way. Very, very important. How do I know this? I'm a paralegal. Among many other things, I am a paralegal, and that's how I've made a living for many years. So I know in what I speak of when I talk about leaving directives and a will and such for your family. Okay, let's get off this subject. Okay, number 7, and I know you're ready to move on from the last one. Who isn't, right? Okay, so when these things happen, whether it's a mass shooting or some other horrible tragedy, it's really easy for us to keep our head there for a long time. Look, it's human nature. We tune into events that are happening, such as a mass shooting. Of course, we want to know what's going on, what's happening. But it's really easy for us to stay there for days. It's one thing to tune in, get updates. We all want to know. For example, in the case of this mass shooting, we all want to know. What was the motive? Why did he do this? Who is this person? And there's nothing wrong with finding all that out, but don't stay in the tragedy 24/7. Look, the evil one, that's where he wants to keep us, right? He wants to keep us in darkness. He wants to keep us with scary thoughts. He wants to keep us down in the dumps. Instead of dwelling continuously on the tragedy, turn to God. Give it to God. Ask Him for His help. Ask Him to enlighten you, give you clarity on this, if it's His will. Ask Him for peace. Spend time with God, spend time in His Word, spend time in His glory, frankly. Just give your mind a shift from the dark to the light and fill yourself with God rather than evil. Okay, let's move on to the last one. Number 8. And this one's a no-brainer, and I hope you do it all the time. Tell your loved ones you love them. Don't wait to tell them how you feel about them. If you're married, if you have children, whatever it may be, before they walk out that door into the world, you give them a kiss, you give them a hug, you tell them you love them. And to be careful and to suit themselves up in the armor of God. And for goodness sake, don't leave each other in anger. What's that saying? Don't let the sun set on your anger. Well, don't let your loved one walk out the door in anger either. Because you just never know if it's the last time you're going to see him here on earth. I know it's nothing we want to think about, but it's true. So tell them you love them. Okay. That's all I have for you today. I hope you got something out of this. I know I did. I know that I was feeling down over evil things that happen in the world and how easily they could happen to me or my loved ones or anyone else for that matter. So I know that putting this video together for you helped me. I hope it helps you in the same way that it helped me. And until next time, may God bless you. May He be with you. May He keep you close. May you find His peace. And bye-bye.
Running away again, and now I'm taking it on the chin. You know I don't